This is ABC15 Mornings.
Right now at 6, a look at the man accused of killing a teenage girl just sitting in her car. This morning we hear from a security guard who witnessed this horrific attack.
Also, will President Biden reach his goal of getting 70% of Americans vaccinated by the 4th of July? This morning we take a deep dive into the latest numbers to see if we're on track right here in Arizona.
Plus, rallying the Valley with beer, the local brewery getting Suns fans all pumped up for the next series with a special pint.
Hey, there were a lot of toasts happening when they won, so getting in on it, why not? Yeah. Oh, we say good morning to you on this Saturday morning. You made it to the weekend. I'm Nohelani Graf.
And I'm Mark Thompson, and that game night, I could hear the collective cheer
yes.
around my complex building when the Suns finally won. I had to admit, I had to get some sleep. I couldn't stay up. It was on so late and watch. But then my phone starts going off because my brother and them, they were LA fans, so they wanted LeBron, and they knew I was cheering for the Suns. So I might as well have stayed up and watched.
Everybody wasn't going to leave you alone. But you know what? I mean, you didn't miss much in that second half because we continued to dominate right on through. So it looked about the same. So, yeah, lots to celebrate. And it is still the talk of the town. The other big talker this weekend, though, it's always the weather. And especially when we start getting really warm. And that is what we are in store for. So very similar to what happened yesterday. You've got to start planning out your time if you want to spend some of it outside. So if you're going for a run, do it early. Get those shoes on and just get that butt out the door. 84 degrees at 7 o'clock this morning. By 10, we'll already be in the mid 90s. And then by 2 o'clock, we cross over into those triple digits. And once we hit 100 degrees, that's when you know the heat is on and you really start to feel it. So in the 80s right now, some 70s as well. And then this afternoon, we'll top out at 107 degrees. We will have some breezes, though, and that will carry statewide. So if you're headed to the high country, be ready for some windy conditions as well. But temps in the 80s if you're going up to Flagstaff for the weekend, right on through the weekend. However, we do have very hot temperatures in the northern portion of the Colorado River Valley, so there are excessive heat warnings in effect through this evening through parts of Mojave County. So I'll talk about what that is going to do to the fire danger and also walk you through our forecast hour by hour coming up in just a little bit.
No, hey, thank you. Phoenix police, they have identified the man accused of gunning down a teenage girl who was just sitting in her car. Francisco Sanchez is charged with murder and kidnapping. It happened near 43rd and Indian School Road at 1 a.m. yesterday. Police say that teen was in the car with her mother and brother when they encountered the suspect covered in blood walking towards their car. Police say that Sanchez then opened fire, shooting and killing 17-year-old Eunice Rodriguez. A security guard working across the street heard all of the chaos and was one of the first witnesses to actually see the victim.
Time I ever experienced somebody so young died right in front of me.
And he tells ABC15 that the victim's mother says that man tried to carjack them. When they refused, he opened fire. Phoenix police say right after that shooting, Sanchez tried to attack another woman who was fortunately able to get away.
New developments now in a police shooting in Phoenix. ABC15 learning that shooting happened after a theft at a smoke shop, but the alleged robbers were not the people who were shot. The shooting near 15th Avenue in Camelback happening on Thursday. Witnesses say smoke shop employees started to chase the thieves, but stopped before getting to the Rally's restaurant parking lot next door. At that point, someone pulled a gun on those alleged shoplifters. Witnesses wondered whether that gunman was trying to help stop the robbers, but police say they are now looking at whether he was involved in other criminal activity as well. In the meantime, on top of all of that, an off-duty Phoenix police officer saw the commotion and the gun. And investigators say that officer ordered that man to drop the weapon, and when he didn't, the officer opened fire. Police say the man who was shot was hospitalized in critical condition but has since stabilized, and his name is not being released yet.
Yeah, a lot to work out there still. All right, no, hey, this morning we are also tracking 3 wildfires across the state, including the Telegraph Fire in the Tonto National Forest. It started yesterday and has already burned 1,500 acres. The fire is located just 3 miles south of Superior. Drivers in the East Valley telling us late last night that they could see the flames in the mountains. Luckily, those flames there are moving away from Superior, so no evacuations are planned at this time. Highway 177 is closed south of Superior. No word on the cause of the fire. Also in Gila County, a pair of communities near Globe are being forced to evacuate as the flames continue to spread there. The Mescal fire has burned about 5,000 acres over the past couple of days. Yesterday, people in the El Capitan and Soto Canyon areas were told to pack up and go. And crews here in the valley also staying busy working to save homes as a fast-moving brush fire burns in North Phoenix. A few dozen acres burning near the State Route 51 interchange with the Loop 101. The highway now back open in that area. Crews eventually able to control that fire. Boy, just a lot of flames there. Thankfully, no homes were damaged. It's unclear what started that fire as well.
Time now 6:05, a concerning trend as we track the latest on COVID-19 across the nation. An increasing number of teenagers are being hospitalized for the virus. That's according to a new CDC study. The agency says it underscores the need for more teens to get vaccinated. And as we go in depth, we now have less than 1 month to hit President Biden's goal of getting 70% of adults vaccinated. We're not there yet here in Arizona. And our Joe St. George is taking a deep dive into the numbers to see if it's even possible nationwide and what are the consequences if we don't reach that goal.
So far, the president, when it comes to vaccinations, has met his goals. He wanted 100 million shots administered by his 100th day in office, and that happened more than 40 days ahead of schedule. But his biggest goal of getting 70% of adults with at least one shot in their arm by July 4th will be here before you know it. And a question is emerging. Will the president meet his July 4th vaccine benchmark? As of Friday morning, around 63% of U.S. adults have received at least one shot. Around 136 million adults are fully vaccinated.
That's right. Get a shot and have a beer.
But the reason the president this week announced new initiatives and yes, free beer is that the 70% goal is very much in doubt. Only 12 states so far have met the president's goal, each one of them states that voted Democrat this past election. And some states appear to be far off. In Arizona, 58% are vaccinated, and based on current rates, it may take 2 months to reach the goal. In Ohio, 57% are vaccinated, and it looks like they'll need 2 more months as well. In Tennessee, just 49% are vaccinated, and it may take 6 more months. Mississippi may be the worst for vaccinations right now. Only 44% have received a shot, and it may take over a year to reach that benchmark. Of course, the consequences of not meeting the goal vary. Restrictions in most places have already been lifted, but experts say areas with low vaccine rates would be susceptible to localized outbreaks.
One way for President Biden to meet his 70% goal is by having high-performing states outperform low-performing states. But even that is becoming a bit more challenging. For instance, in the high-performing state of Massachusetts, some areas are already nearing 100% participation, while in some more rural areas, rates are beginning to level out. One thing is for sure, expect more incentives to get vaccinated in the coming days. At the White House in Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
And here in Arizona, we are vaccinating an average of 60,000 people a week. At this rate, our data expert found that it would take until around October to vaccinate 70% of the Arizona population. The state public health director says that she's hopeful Arizona might hit that 70% number, but admits demand has dropped, and that's why the state will be closing the state-run vaccination sites by the end of this month. Dr. Kara Chris says that they are shifting their strategy from operating the large pod sites to now smaller community pop-up events.
We continue to work. We know that there's a lot of misperceptions out about the vaccine. We know that there's a lot of people who are hesitant and want to see, others who have taken the vaccine.
Along with focus on pop-up events, Dr. Chris says that they are working to add more providers to the vaccination list. As of right now, there are at least 1,600 providers giving out shots, and that does not include pharmacies. And if you still need to get vaccinated, today the health department is teaming up with the Arizona Diamondbacks for a vaccine event. Anyone 12 years old and older who gets vaccinated at Chase Field will get a free ticket to a baseball game. Kids, they'll also get to run the bases and have their picture taken on the field. Appointments, they are encouraged, but they will take walk-ins on a first-come, first-served basis. Coming up at 8 o'clock, our very own Jamie Warren. She's going to be out live with more on that vaccination event.
And if you're looking for some other things to do this weekend, today the Arizona Wedding Show returns to the Phoenix Convention Center. You're going to be able to check out more than 175 vendors in person this year at that event. It's open from 9 this morning until 3 this afternoon. Admission is $10 per person. Children 12 and under are free, but this is the important part. You have to buy your tickets online ahead of time because attendees have to book an entry time. Also, masks will be required the whole time. You can learn more by going to ArizonaWeddingShow.com. Also this weekend, Scottsdale is celebrating its 70th anniversary. So all month long, they're going to be having concerts and other various events for the community. And so tonight, they're having a drive-in movie night in the outfield of Scottsdale Stadium. So it's still a walk-in, but you get the idea. There's also scavenger hunts, a summer solstice festival. All the details, that full schedule, are all up right now on OldTownScottsdaleAZ.com.
Well, starting today, the Pueblo Grande Museum offering a free virtual summertime storytelling series. Different children's authors will be sharing their books virtually on the museum's YouTube channel every Saturday through July 3rd. Each week is a different book, and there's a craft that goes along with it. Today's book, What Do You Do When the Couch Eats Your Shoe? Sounds like a budding Dr. Seuss who may have written that one. Well, as the Suns prepare to take on the Denver Nuggets Monday, one local brewery deciding to get creative to show their support for the home team. Wren House Brewing Company off of 24th Street in McDowell, rebranding one of the most popular beers that they have, the Valley Beer, now becomes the Rally Beer. Redesigning the label as well to feature the Suns' signature purple and orange colors and the chant echoing across the city with hopes of keeping that energy up as the Suns prepare to take on the Denver Nuggets next week.
I mean, it was certainly more of a passion project than anything on our end that we thought it would be kind of fun and show our support, but once we put it out there, we sold the first 10 cases that night.
We're super proud of it. We're excited. We don't want to take credit for any of the Sun's success, but it's fun to kind of geek out and combine our two loves.
Why not? Wren House Brewing also just reopened their tap room for in-person service earlier this month after being closed for more than a year. 6:12 now, still ahead, an update on a $1 trillion infrastructure deal that the president is pushing. The one demand the president has now agreed to drop. Plus, the science of shade. No, we're not talking about dissing people behind their back. This morning, we're going to reveal the best spots to beat the heat, and a robot is involved. You're going to see that story coming up. We'll call it the science of shade. ASU researchers, they are finding the best spots to beat the heat. Meet Marty, the specialized shade robot in a wagon. It's more than meets the eye. Scientists are using it to find the best kinds of shade. It measures how much cooler it stays under things like trees, sunshades, and buildings. The best heat relief may surprise you. It was so hot it melted the microphone there. Researchers will use this data to create an online decision-making tool. Developers can use that to figure out the best heat relief for certain projects. And just reading the verbatim of what she said there, Nohe, it looks like under buildings and awnings from buildings, they said was a better shade than beneath trees and other natural types of shade. So really any place that you can find some shade is better than being out in the direct sunlight, and with all of those, you're still going to have to hydrate. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And I know, for me, maybe it's a mental thing, but just seeing more trees for shade also makes all the difference in the world. If I'm choosing a park to take the baby to, it just creates that shade. So you need it. It makes all the difference in the world this time of year. It's amazing the difference it makes. So let's get into that most accurate forecast, because you will need shade, you will need water, both of the things that Mark's mentioned today as we really start to heat up. Live view from our South Mountain camera. You can see we've got a few clouds out there, a little haze, but that will clear as we move through the afternoon. But it will be very hot once again this weekend. We'll have some breezes move in, so that will help keep our air quality in the moderate range, but it also increases our fire danger statewide. Temperatures right now still pretty mild, so if you can get yourself out the door, go for a walk, take the dog with you. It's a nice time to do it. It's still comfortable. We're in the 70s in places like Levine at 76, 77 in Glendale and Scottsdale, 75 in Gilbert, Gilbert. It's 77 in Santan Valley as well. Statewide, we've got 70s in areas like Sedona and Payson. Also north of the rim, it's a little more mild than that in Show Low in the upper 60s right now, but we're still in the 50s in Heber and Flagstaff, and the Grand Canyon starting the morning off in the upper 40s. But along our western border, it's already in the 80s, 87 degrees in Lake Havasu City right now. Futurecast showing us a few of those clouds will stick around in the valley this afternoon, but mostly high thin clouds. We will have a chance for a scattered shower along the White Mountains later this afternoon, but I think that stays in the higher elevations closer to Heber, and we won't get any of that moisture here in the valley. So if you're looking for some form of water, you're going to have to go seek it out, either spending the morning on Tempe Town Lake or go further out to Lake Pleasant, Lake Roosevelt, something like that. And you will want to find ways to stay cool today if you're going to be outside in any capacity. 80s through 9, 90s by 9 o'clock, upper 90s at 11, and then at noon we're hitting those triple digits. So across the valley today, that high is 107 degrees. We'll see it reflected in just about every valley city, although it will be 105 in Apache Junction and Fountain Hills, low 100s in Cave Creek, Anthem, as well as Wickenburg. Statewide, we're looking at the coolest temperatures, of course, north of the rim, but cool will be relative. We'll still be in the 80s in Flagstaff, upper 80s in Show Low, 90s across the central portion of our state. In fact, Sedona is going to come close to triple digits today, but the really hot spot in the state is going to be Mojave County, 115 degrees in Lake Havasu City, as well as Bullhead City coming close to that. Quartzsite will be near 110. Very hot weather, and that is why we do have those excessive heat warnings in effect for that area. Also, we'll have some breezes statewide. Today in the valley, up to 20-mile-an-hour winds with gusts around 25 miles an hour in select spots. Southeastern Arizona will see the strongest winds today with gusts around 40 miles an hour, and that will increase our fire danger combined with hot temperatures. And so that's why we have a red flag warning in effect for that southeastern corner of our state, which does include the area of Safford and surrounding cities. Here in the valley tomorrow, we start to trend down just a little bit with our temps, 105 and then 103 to start the work week. But those breezes are going to carry us through Monday. So I will show you the timing of the winds here in the valley and statewide if you're hitting the road, as well as that 7-day forecast to see if those temps go any lower than 102 on Tuesday. That's ahead a little bit later this morning, Mark.
All right, no, hey, thank you. The 4th of July, the city of Avondale, they're going to be having a fireworks show at the Phoenix Raceway. Admission is free. People are also invited to tailgate ahead of the show. There will also be food trucks there. Fireworks show starts at 8:30. And in Chandler, the July 4th Fireworks Spectacular will be back this year. There will be a drive-in show at Tumbleweed Park starting at 9 p.m. Tickets are $5. People who live in Chandler, they're going to get first dibs to buy tickets June 17th. Then the next day, tickets will open up to everyone. For more information, go to chandleraz.gov to select your preferred tickets. Still ahead, an update on Arizona's budget battle when lawmakers will be back to try and make a deal. Plus, putting in a pool this summer, we've got some tips for finding the best contractor to do the job.
Thanks for watching ABC15 Arizona, streaming 24/7 on Roku and these streaming devices.
Throughout the pandemic, with everybody staying home more, home improvements have surged. And certainly here in Arizona, one of the big ones is getting a pool or redoing one. But we want to make sure that you're not wasting your money or getting scammed when you do it. Marilyn Huffman is joining us from the Better Business Bureau Association to talk about this. Hey, Marilyn, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So a lot of people have been putting in pools. My social media feeds have been packed with everybody updating their progress. So it seems that one of the best ways to start in the beginning, word of mouth, talk to people.
Absolutely. We always suggest that you talk to people you know and trust. So if you have family or friends that you can turn to ask if they've had a good experience or maybe who they utilized when they were having their pool worked on or installed, that's a great way to go for step one.
Now, if that's not the case, you're the first one on the block to do this, or everybody already had a pool, where else can you start to find a good contractor?
Absolutely. So you can definitely search BBB for pool contractors, and you'll be able to receive information about the company, the type of licensing that they have, and be able to read customer reviews on the experience that they had with that particular company.
What are some other things that you should be looking into when you're picking a contractor?
Okay, so when you're picking a contractor, you want to make sure that you're looking at the years that they have been in business, the experience that they have had. If they've had a consumer issue, have they resolved that issue? Were they communicative with the consumer on that issue, and did they work to resolve it? Those are all really important things that you want to look for before you hire someone.
And speaking of hiring, whenever we apply for a job, you expect your future employer to check your references. You turn in that resume. Is that something that we can do when it comes to pools and contractors?
Absolutely. You can certainly check their resume. Honestly, online is a huge tool for us nowadays. So even just Googling the name of the company or searching the name of the business owner, and if they're unwilling to give you that information so that you can do your due diligence, then I would suggest you move on and find someone else.
Yeah, any other red flags to look for that might indicate this is a scam?
Absolutely. So if you are just given a license number and that license number does not check out with the Arizona Registrar of Contractors, that's a huge red flag. If they're asking for money up front, or if they offer you a deal that seems just a little too good to be true, and they insist that you take it now, instead of letting you be able to think it over and just kind of weigh your options and maybe price quote with other companies also, these are all things that you want to watch out for.
So if we need extra resources to help look into a business, or we've spotted a problem business, how do we get in touch with the BBB?
You can reach out to the Better Business Bureau at bbb.org for information, for contact, to be able to give us a call, and we will help walk you through the process to get help.
That sounds great. Because of course, if we're looking forward to a pool, that means we want it to be all about fun and we want to be splashing worry-free. Marilyn, thank you so much for all of your tips this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Well, still ahead, we are not the only state looking at last year's election ballots. The long-term impacts election audits are expected to have on future voters. Plus,
oh my gosh, dude. Wow, look at him fly.
Wow, a government report about UFOs just leaked. What's it revealing about where they are coming from?